Welcome back to another edition of the Spinoff. And today, everybody, this is very special for me and all of Husker Nation. Obviously, I don't need to give this man much of an introduction, but I'm going to anyway. As you can see, I have Nebraska's first Heisman Trophy winner with me, number 20, Johnny the Jet Rodgers. Thank you so much for joining me today, sir.
Brian, it's my pleasure. I see you got all your Husker gear here. I had no idea you were number one Husker fan when we met wherever we met, but I guess I'm glad we connected. I like to kind of be there for all of the fanfare that we have. We need all the fans we can get these days.
Absolutely, and we'll get into the current state of Husker football a little later on. I wanted to talk about your high school days. Now, this is interesting. You were voted High School Athlete of the Year for Omaha Tech High. What was that feeling knowing that you had that type of accolade just in high school alone?
Well, those are goals that we were kind of shooting for. You know, when you're playing with a lot of good players and you're playing on good teams, you don't really have to really shoot for the accolades. You really shoot to just try to do your part for the team. And when you have that attitude, the other players have that same kind of attitude. And somehow or another, being a guy that has the ball a lot, I was able to, get the guys to support on a lot of different things. And we were winning in high school. And also in high school, I played basketball. I was All-American in All-City in basketball. I was the champion, the long jump and the triple jump. And I was All-American in baseball. I was got drafted to the Dodgers right out of high school. So we did quite a few things during my senior year to get to those accolades.
I would say so. Now, what made you not take that opportunity in baseball with the Dodgers then?
Well, Brian, I had a dream since the time I was like 10 or 11 years old that I wanted to make $100,000. Now, I had no idea what $100,000 was, and it's in my book, 10 Minutes of Insanity, which you can get it on 10minutesofinsanity.com. But I wanted to get $100,000. Now, coming from a poor family, I didn't even know what $100 was, let alone 100,000. But it was the most money I'd ever really heard of. When I got drafted to the Dodgers out of high school, I went down to the Dodgers to visit in Los Angeles, and I made the team. I made the team. I got there. My father first. That was actually the first time I had met my father was when I went to try out for the Dodgers. I was 17 years old, and they brought me back an offer of $25,000 a year for 3 years, which was $75,000. Probably could have got $100,000 over 4 years, but I really didn't. I just knew I wasn't getting $100,000, so I was really kind of disappointed in that. And so I decided. My mother had told me that I need to stop telling people that I won $100,000 because Black people didn't get $100,000. And so my father told me that that wasn't true, that there were Black people that were getting $100,000. And that was the time about O.J. Simpson was just coming out and he was big and he got $100,000. Mike Garrett, the first Black Heisman Trophy winner from USC, he'd gotten $100 with the Chiefs and whatever. And so he gave me some examples of possibly I could get $100,000 if I were to continue on. I get recruited for Bob Devaney, and he tells me that if I tell him about my $100,000, and he tells me that if I come to the University of Nebraska, that he will give me a scholarship in baseball and a scholarship in football, and I could put those two together. And by the time I graduate, I might be able to get up to that $100,000. And that's pretty much kind of what happened. The only difference was that he, in my junior year, he told me that they wanted me to give up baseball in order to get the ball more to me in football. And I told him, I said, well, coach, I said, that's very discouraging because you promised me that I could play baseball and I could play football because I wanted to get that $100,000. Well, he said, yeah, Johnny, so that's true. But if you come out for if you give up baseball willingly, you would be the first person that we ever endorsed for the Heisman Trophy. So I took that deal. And then coming on, my career went along there pretty good. I won the Heisman and came out and I went to the Chargers and the Chargers offered me $50,000. I said, golly, I mean, maybe my mother was right. Maybe they just don't give Black people $100,000. and not still knowing, and I was tripping. I really didn't really know what to do. Then the Montreal Alouettes had my rights in Canada. And so I got a plane and flew up there. When I got off the plane, the owner, Sam Berger, he asked me, he said, what is it going to take for you to bring that Heisman Trophy to Montreal and play for the Alouettes? And of course, I told him.
$100,000.
He said, okay.
I like that you stuck to that, though. It was a goal you had in mind, and you didn't let anything deter you from it.
Well, like I said, that was the most money still from the time I was 11 until that time that I'd ever had heard. And that was just a big number. And you have to dream when you dream big. Now, somewhere along the line, I heard somebody talk about $1 million. And I said, well, what the heck is $1 million? He said, well, $1 million is 10 times $100,000. I said, no kidding. I said, man, I never thought about that. And I didn't, but I did start thinking about that. And I put some concentration on it and thought into it. And 2 years later, about a year later, I approached the Montreal Alouettes that if I needed to get $1 million, I was going to leave and go to the World Football League. And so they gave me $1 million to stay. And then when they traded me to San Diego took over my contract. And I had the first $1 million contract in the Canadian Football League.
Hey, man, so what was that feeling like once you obviously reached your goal of the 100,000 that you wanted, then you hear of the $1 million and you reached that goal? What did it feel like to set two financial goals that high and be able to accomplish them pretty early on in your career?
Well, I don't know if the money goals were as significant as my educational or my physical goals in sports, because they were far more harder to get. And although I got the money through them, they were where I had to really put the most perseverance in and not to give up on those things and to get those kind of accolades in order to get to those goals, because I really didn't have money. So I didn't understand money and understand the value of money, of how difficult it should be. But I knew that if I was good at my trade, that I'd have a better chance of really getting to those points. But it really didn't hit me that you were a thousandaire or a millionaire. As long as I was ever self-sufficient, then I figured I was doing all right. I could do the things that I needed to do. I could give my mother money. I could take care of my children. And I have 3 daughters and 3 sons. They all have been through college, have master's degrees and things of that effect. And so as long as we can take care and have that I can create value for value at different places, then I've been quite content, because I've made $1 million a couple of times and dropped it. But you just have to know how to get it. It's not, you can't put that much emphasis on money. It's just money. Even though $1 million is $1 million, $1 million not that very much money these days.
Not anymore.
No, ever have been.
It can always go just as fast as you get it, no matter how much it is. All right, now, with the landscape of college football, it's obviously changed a heck of a lot since your recruitment process.
Everything changes. Nothing stays the same.
Absolutely.
So, and that's everybody acts surprised that things change. If things don't change, we go crazy. We can't be the same all the time.
That's right. That's the one thing that stays the same is everything changes.
Everything changes, and that is for sure. So we need to be ready for the change, and so we should try to create change. When I went another level to be able to get to the Heisman Trophy, they wanted to get the ball to me more ways. That was a change. When we brought more of Willie Harper, Glover, and all these different type of people that were different to the landscape, that was a change. It was a change for the better. So everything is changing. We just have to be prepared for the changes. So what type of change are you talking about that took place that are we looking at? Is it a good change or a bad change?
I mean, just the way the recruitment process was from when you were recruited to even just to the 90s types of recruitments that they used to do. Was back when you were recruited, was it strictly head coaches that came for recruitment trips, or was it assistant coaches as they do today?
Well, it's the same. It depends on how important you are. Bob Devaney recruited me. Bob Devaney doesn't recruit everybody. Tom Osborne recruits maybe the next level at that particular time. Then we get our position coaches. are recruiting other guys in not skilled positions. It depends on how valuable you are to the franchise or to the college of who's really going to come out there and make you that offer and to really, because you need your best recruiter to recruit your best players that you want to have in there. So I think the things are pretty much as they were. It's just that it's getting more sophisticated, looking at it on how you have to recruit, going after these guys, because it's easy to get them now, but it's harder to keep them.
Now, on that same note, when you say it's harder to keep them, what's your thoughts on today's transfer portal?
I think the transfer portal is the best thing that could ever happen for players, because people just don't understand how unfair that sports have been to players. Because when I went to the University of Nebraska and I got a 4-year scholarship, or anybody goes to University of Nebraska or Notre Dame or Ohio State or wherever to get a 4-year contract, a 4-year scholarship, they don't get a 4-year scholarship. They get 4 1-year scholarships. And at any given time after that first year, you are on the chopping blocks. So if they've had that opportunity to knock you off all that time, it's only right that they figure it out that now after a year, you have the opportunity to go somewhere else and do something else too. Especially when you're not getting paid, you really have to go for the best deal you could get, and you only got a few years to get it. And more than not, there are some guys that are going to school in order to get their education paid for, but most of them are trying to get on football or basketball or baseball in order to get paid.
Yep.
So you have to make your moves best that you can. And so when people realize that they only had a 1-year deal, then they're free to do better for themselves. So that's the only thing that's changed in that is they became aware that opportunity was available, and they're taking advantage of their advantages.
Absolutely. I actually agree with that. The transfer portal, in my eyes, if that was around in the 90s, the early 2000s, I'm sure there are certain players we may not have had on the field for those teams because they just simply would have left.
Well, yeah, they probably would have left. If they could do better, you always have to be trying to do better for yourself, and no one can kind of keep you from doing that. Now, you've heard, John Dutton and Monty Johnson. You've heard of those guys that played back in my day?
Yes, sir.
Monty Johnson and John Dutton, they were Hall of Famers in the NFL. They played second team when I played on our team. Now, they might not have stayed there to play second team if they hadn't been able to get in the portal. But I probably suggest that they probably would, because they did know that they were the next ones coming up, and they were going to get to play a lot, because when we got first team got tired, we brought in second team, and sometimes might be just as good as the first. And they still were able to get their accolades and get recruited to the NFL because of the team structure. So when you got a really good team, you're not going to have, and you can see that you're going in the right direction, you're not going to have a bunch of people leaving, because even though they're not playing on the first team, they still have more opportunities for exposure and to get better and to get better coaching and to figure out their money goals right where they are and what they're doing. If you're a coach and convince them that he's got the better scheme than those other coaches what you're leaving for. But you don't always have to play first team to especially when you're a year behind the guy, you get a turn. And you don't ever have a problem with a guy playing ahead of you if he's really better than you.
Yep.
The only problem is if you have guys that they're not better than you and they're getting somebody showing them favoritism, then you have a problem. Because the best players got to always play.
I agree 100%. Now, talking about your Nebraska career, we could spend all day talking about it very easily. So I just picked out a couple little things. One, obviously, everybody knows well about, and that's the punt return in the game of the century against Oklahoma. Did you ever get to hear the radio call by Lyle Bremser for that punt return?
I get to hear it all the time over the years. We have people that recite it to me. We have children that recite it to me. Their parents and their grandparents have taught them the call. It's become a very famous call, and everyone's heard the call. And I, see the run and remember the run. What really people don't understand, that was the biggest play That was the most exciting play of the game, I would say, and the most
Yeah.
remembered. But the most significant play of the game was a 3rd down and 10 in the 4th quarter, where Jerry got me the ball that enabled us to get a 1st down to continue on our drive in order to be able to score at the end, so they didn't get the ball back and win. And so that 3rd down play was just a 10-yard pass, was probably far more significant than the punt return, because if we don't win that game, then we probably don't remember that punt return nearly as much as we do right now. So it's the combination of the two. Big things are just a bunch of little things put together.
So did you ever think that was a clip on the final block on that return, though?
Oh, no, it's no way we could have been a clip, because you have to see it. Joe Blaha, when I came down, he's facing me. He spins all the way around and then comes back over to the sideline, and he's coming towards me when I'm going that way in order to take the guy off my back. So there was really no way that he could have clipped him because of where his position was. But the thing is that he had that perseverance to not only, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. He almost ran into me when we got started, but he kept going. He stayed with it and to turn around and was there to make a block, because everybody, when I go back to in the huddle, we're in the huddle, all right? And we used to call punt return left, and shit, I go right. We turn a punt return right, I might go left. So I just start saying, all right, everybody get a block. Ready? Break. So everybody get a block. So he hadn't got his block. He had to get the block.
He had to get a hat on a hat.
And if you don't get the block on film day, we're going to see who didn't get the block. And everybody got to get a block, because film don't lie. So he came back and he got his block. And Joe was one of the fastest guys. Joe was faster than I was. He was one of the fastest guys on the team, and he utilized it, but he did his job. And that's what everybody on our team, everybody did their job. And, I never, when I was playing at the University of Nebraska, I didn't really get the football that much. That's why I did punt returns, and I ran kickoffs, and I played wing back, played a little running back. I played a lot of different things so I can get the ball more ways, because I didn't get it that many times in any place. But it's just a matter just to be able to do the best you can do with it when you get it. And that goes by position. Every man has to do their job as best they can. And when you put all that together, then you have a great team. When you got too much emphasis on one player, too much emphasis on the running back or the quarterback or the fullback or the line, then you're off balance. But when everybody can do a little bit and do their part well, then you got a world-class team. And that's why they're still talking about that 71 team of being the best team of all time, because we took those little things and made them great. And everybody, that little things turned into big things, and they're still talking about them.
Yeah, I'd say you did what you could when you got the ball, only to the tune of just under 5,600 all-purpose yards at Nebraska. So, I mean, it's no big deal, just a little check mark on the resume there. So that's very good. All right, the other snippet I wanted to talk about was the 73 Orange Bowl from the 72 season. They say that is one of the greatest games that they've seen anybody play, because listen to just a few of these stats. This was staggering. First of all, you helped lead the team to a 40-6 win over Notre Dame. Notre Dame back in those days, huge powerhouse still. You ran for 3 touchdowns, caught a 50-yard touchdown pass, and you threw for a 54-yard touchdown pass. You had the trifecta. You had the hat trick. Do you remember all of that happening in that Orange Bowl?
Yeah, and that was by halftime. I didn't play the second half.
Exactly. I forgot to bring that part up too. It was amazing. That's why I couldn't believe what I was reading. And I talked to my dad about this, and he's like, yeah, I watched it all happen.
Well, we wanted to go out with a bang. Coach Devaney was his final game. Our final game this senior, we wanted to make a statement. So we put emphasis on me getting the ball and showcasing the skills that I had, which we pretty much didn't do that prior to. We could have done that in a lot of different games that we wanted to. Against Army, I played running back. I played running back 2 or 3 different times. We always could have done that, but that would have threw off our balance. But coming into, and it's given me more possibility to be able to get hurt, because I'm doing exactly too many things. I can't run the punt returns and the kickoffs back, which I was very good at if I'm running back. It's just gets to be a little bit too much. So we have to decide what is more significant by the game. But at that game, we wanted to really make a statement on things. And so to send Coach Devaney out with a boom. And it was a pretty important that because I did win the Heisman Trophy, that they had that Heisman jinx. A lot of guys that won the Heisman didn't really do very well coming in their bowl games after that because there was so much attention on them. They were focusing and keying on them. So we figured they'd key on me, let them key on me. We're going to take it right on to them and get the job done. And so Coach Devaney was able to go out with the win with a bang, and everybody was happy. And we did beat Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl, and they Procedure and them were really upset. And we had, year before we had beat Bear Bryant in the Orange Bowl, and they were undefeated at the same time too. So we had a pretty good run there for a minute. We probably lost a couple games in 2-3 years. And I tell you, to be real honest, I was shocked when we lost them because we never went into a game thinking that we were going to lose. And it was a shock when we did lose the game or something did go wrong. But we were just about winning. Winning isn't everything. But in Nebraska, we rated right up there with oxygen.
Yes. You said that exactly right.
It's pretty important. I hope we get back to that soon.
And we're going to talk about how that could happen here soon. Now, you were the first round draft pick in 73 to San Diego, but you decided to sign a very lucrative contract with Montreal Alouettes. Now, what went into the decision, which we obviously figured out, the money wasn't right going to San Diego, but what gave you that opportunity to say, Canadian football, hey, let's give this a shot?
It wasn't a matter of the Canadian football or the NFL. The NFL was just getting started back then. If you figure, they were very early in the birth of the NFL. What were they, 3 or 4 or 5 years old when
maybe,
at that time?
Maybe.
So they really wasn't a big dog or nothing. Yep. It was a matter of my $100,000. Whoever I had to play for the boys club if they gave me $100,000.
And you even coined a nickname, the Everyday Superstar in the CFL.
No, it was the Ordinary Superstar.
Ordinary Superstar, excuse me. No.
I had a record called Ordinary Superstar.
Yes.
It went, get old children try to be like me. They all want to be famous and free. Yeah. Oh. You all know that I'm a player and I don't mind you playing around with me. I'm just trying to give you more of what you all been asking for. I got to say, I know the way. I'm your ordinary superstar.
I love it. So how big was that in the CFL? I mean, not a lot of people get to do things like that as players. And especially back then, you didn't get to do a whole lot of that. So what was it like to cut a record like that?
Oh, well, in Montreal, when we went to the game, when they advanced the game, it was Johnny Rodgers and the Montreal Alouettes versus the Toronto Argonauts. I mean, it was, they played it up pretty big. I was there, their top player that they had. We brought us out the cellar into the Grey Cup. We went to 2 Grey Cups. We should have won both of them, but we did win 1 Grey Cup. And that was one of the reasons why eventually they ended up getting the Olympic Stadium there, because we just raised the interest up in football in a country where hockey is the prominent sport. That football became one of the things that people were following all across the country. And the French people in Montreal were actually going to the games instead of to the hockey games as well, because we all love hockey too in Montreal. And Montreal was really a nice city, a love city. The French people were really good. The English people were fine. And so we just had a good romance for a few years there before I decided to come back to the Chargers just to see just how good I could be. My only problem is when I got back, I got a pulled hamstring. And I think that's because I came from a cold weather climate to a really warm weather climate in San Diego. And I didn't really take the preparations to take drinking water as seriously as I should have, because I'm pretty sure I got dehydrated and I pulled a hamstring, which kept me out my first year. My second year, what really retired me is one of my teammates, Mike Fuller, stepped on my toe during a pass route in practice and cracked my kneecap, and it was over.
Ooh.
After all the beatings I took in all the big games and tough games, I get hurt in practice and get retired in practice.
All from somebody just stepping on you.
They stepped on my foot and I twisted and cracked my kneecap, knocked a piece out of it about the size of a silver dollar, and it was over.
Ooh.
Crippled.
So
Real clear crutches. It was all over as far as football is concerned. But they told me I was going to wouldn't walk. But I played racquetball. I've gotten 2 knee replacements since then, so everything is back on track, and we're able to do my conditioning and stay in fairly good shape.
So what was the idea right after that injury, knowing that your career is probably over? What was the mindset as to what's next?
Well, what became next was that I had to go into being an entrepreneur. Had to see what I really wanted to do. So I took an idea from Montreal. You know, Montreal was like the love city, entertainment city. You went out at midnight, you come in at 5. Nobody went out before midnight. It was just like a party scene. And so they had entertainment everywhere. So when I went to San Diego, they had the largest saturation of cable in the whole United States, more than anybody else. And so I took an idea from Montreal with the entertainment and San Diego with the cable. I put together an entertainment and cable TV magazine called Tuned In San Diego, and it became the largest magazine in the country at the time because we had the largest saturation of cable in the United States right in San Diego County, and we was back in the game.
Wow. So what was it like doing that then? Was it just an enjoyment and a fun-filled time almost the entire time, start to finish?
Well, no, hard work is never no fun, more fun than getting hit in football. It's nice to win, but along the way you get beat up. You lose. You got a lot of different things. I remember being down to my last money paying payroll before I actually turned the corner and hit big and became the guy had been able to pay for my printers. Sometimes just paying. I was doing 50,000 copies a week. It takes a lot of money to do 50,000 copies a week, but we're able to get it. We're able to get more advertising and to do it. And then I left San Diego, came to Nebraska to come back to get my degrees because I was telling my kids that you can, you got to have an education. Education, not part of your life. Education is life itself. And I had quit my senior year. I had left with about 12 hours before I got my degree. So either I had to go back and get my degree, or my kids would end up getting degrees before me. So I came back and I got a degree in broadcasting and a degree in advertising. And I remember one of the young people asking me, they said, "Mr. Rodgers, what are you going to be when you graduate? What are you going to be when you graduate?" And I'd always tell them 50.
Did you keep that though?
Keep what?
Did you graduate at 50?
Oh no, I graduated a long time before 50.
There you go. Then that's all that matters.
No, we got, like I said, that was 10, 15 years ago now. I think it was like 97 or something to that effect, 93, somewhere in there, that I was able to get both of my degrees. And then I started a place here, a Champion Production, and we did juvenile beddings. So I was the first one to do Husker sheets and comforters, and everything for kids' bedrooms with the logo, college logos and things on them. And actually I did so many that they gave me Entrepreneur of the Year award for having the best company and the best ideas for that particular product and service.
So how did that feel, knowing that what you're doing right there is already making a difference and it's getting noticed?
Well, everything you do can make a difference if you stick to it and you have an idea whose time has come. And like I'm saying, that's what I'm saying here. We're talking about things, changing. You have to think ahead of the change, ahead of the curve, so you can live into some of the things, But before I came to University of Nebraska, we didn't throw the ball. We were running the ball right up the middle and whatever. When I came to Nebraska, then we started putting more emphasis on the pass. We got the reverses, the inside reverses. Even to this day, they don't put emphasis on punt returns and kickoffs, but we changed. We put emphasis on those. And every time, I see them sometimes when they go back for a kickoff or something, and the guy puts his arm out and he says, hold up, hold up. I'd have broke his arm. Ain't no way in the world we're going to hold up. We're coming out every single time.
Yep.
That's just, it's a big deal. Punt returns, everybody's got to get a block. It's a big time. But those things change. When you come out in business, you can't come out and do something that somebody else has done. You got to do what they're going to need next.
That's right.
You got to be your future thinking. You got to think ahead of the times and take chances. And being a punt returner, you learn to be a risk taker. So you go out there and take risks to do the things that we're doing.
Yeah, you've got to take risks, and if they don't pay off, so what? One will, and that's all that matters.
Well, one will, and then you move on to the next one, and you develop your deal here. Right now, we're working on a device called ShycoCam, which is ShycoCam is a device that if you put it in a structure, a school or a hospital or auditoriums or whatever, it will disarm the coronavirus so that it cannot spread to anyone. Now, we have a lot of skepticism on that because people don't believe it, but it's FDA approved. So if the FDA says that they do it, then you better get on board, because over in India, they've been doing it for a couple of years and it's saving people's lives. But it's a big, grandiose deal, and we're waiting for it to catch around the country. But those are the type of deals that we have to get in, and something that hasn't happened yet. And we're going to be the first one to bring the best to not just in Nebraska and their schools, but to the whole country.
That is amazing. So knowing that you have something like that is, like you said, it's FDA approved, what's it going to feel like when that starts to roll out and you start to make a huge difference, especially during a pandemic?
Well, we're just trying to help as many people as we can. We're trying to get our kids back to school as fast as we can. We want to make our elderly feel as safe as they can, and we want it to be for real and lasting, because this pandemic and all these viruses are just starting. They're not ending. So just like we used to have air, you had to get air conditioners in your house. You had to get safe locks and alarms on your house because people would break in and steal. Well, right now the change is you got to do an alarm because virus will break in and kill you. So now you have to take those steps for viruses like we used to have to do for thieves coming in, because they're not coming in to steal your jewelry and your money. The viruses are coming in to steal your life. And so you got to get your place set up. And so for $600-700 that you can get your house to where you can have people come and go and you can't catch the coronavirus, I think they're going to do it.
Man, I think that's a heck of a price. I think that's a steal right there. $600-700. I'd pay that in a heartbeat.
$700, you can cure 1,000 square feet, and you don't have to worry about spreading. If you can be at your house and your mother, your father can be laying up there in a bed, have corona, and it can't spread to you.
We're going to be talking about this.
You can see them all the time. Right now, they'd be places they won't let you come near because of the virus. Well, you could be right there with them till the end or till the beginning or whatever the case, and not have to worry about you getting it too, because it cannot spread, and it's been proven 99.9% safe.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. All right, so we'll kind of fast forward in today's Huskers. Coach Frost, obviously, it has not gone the way he was hoping when he got here. He said when he got here, it was in a lot more disarray than he had anticipated. What do you see since Scott has taken over at the helm? What do you see that needs to be done to really change things around? Is Scott on the right path, or is there something different that needs done?
Well, it's quite obvious he's not on the right path, and it's quite obvious that something different needs to be done. If you keep doing the same thing you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you get. We have to change with the times. And now sometimes history repeats itself, that we have to recruit speed. We have to have speed, and we have to have speed. We got to put an emphasis. Did you see how when we run our punt returns and our kickoffs back, there's nothing special about it at all.
No.
So we need somebody with speed back there to give our guys a hope that they're going to really be able to make a difference on special teams. We have to have defensive players that we're going to put pressure on quarterbacks so they make mistakes out there to give us a chance to win, and our defensive backs can be able to cover. That's going to be a change because it's all about defense. Defense wins the championship. And the offense, we're going to have offensive linemen that don't make mistakes every other play and get holding penalties, and people are beating them all the time, and give them a chance to win and to showcase their talent so they can go to the NFL. Because football is offense, defense, and special teams. It doesn't take that much to emphasize all three of them, but we got to emphasize speed and strength on all three of those positions so the guys would believe that we have a chance to win. They don't believe that they got what it takes to win, is why they're going somewhere else to get it done. And so I don't blame.
Do you think that maybe the hunger is kind of lost within the program then?
Well, we're not doing what it takes to secure those 3 points. It doesn't take geniuses to figure it out, and you got to make those players believe that you're doing that, because they can't. If they don't get to showcase their talents, then they're not going to go to the NFL.
Very true.
So you have to give them, you have to make them believe that you're going to be winning, and they have a chance to showcase their talents. And you can't keep talking about what we're going to do later. We got to grow into that. We got to do it now. When you go into college football, what if I went to the University of Nebraska and they weren't going to win until I left? What was the point of me going there? Yeah, well, we'll be all right in 3 more years. But hell, I ain't gonna be there for 3 years, 4 years. So if that's the case, if you keep saying that, then whoever's there next year, they better go now.
Yeah.
What's the sense of staying there if they know already it's gonna take you 3 years to win? So you can't figure it out for 3 more years. And 3 more years after that, it might be 3 more. It's all about now. It's all about now.
It's very scary. Very scary with the transfer portal.
And your seniors are going to prove it. They're going to go to the NFL. They're going to get opportunities that we made available now, right now.
So do you think maybe with the transfer portal, then, do you think Scott and the staff should maybe search for guys that can fill the roles right now that are ready to leave where they're at?
Well, that's what they better do right now, because they haven't been able to convince the ones that are here to stay.
Yeah.
So they better start trying to figure out how to convince them more to come in, and what that you're going to change that's going to happen now. They can't be telling, if you come here, we're going to make some change, we'll be all right in 2 or 3 years. Well, 2 or 3 years, they're going to be not going to be around. They got to know. It's just like when you bring in a junior college transfer. When we brought in people, they were to help us get to where we were going now.
Yes.
They weren't for later. We had a good team, but we need some people to come in to give us, to block those holes now. And so that's why you come in now. You're going to make it stronger. We're going to win now. It's always about now. What we're going to do now. Not ever about what we're going to do later. You can't predict later, but you can, if you put the right things in the right place, tell you what is possible now. And we want to win now. Shit, we got to be ass kickers, booty whippers. We got to whip Notre Dame's ass. We got to whip Alabama's ass. We got to be in a position to whip our own ass, but we got to be ass kickers.
That's very true. And the championship Nebraska teams, they, like you said, they could whoop their own asses because nobody else could. You were the only ones that could whoop your own ass. Our
second team was better than most people's first teams. He's whooping our own ass all the time. That's where you win right now, this attitude. You got to really believe that people are really trying to do it now. And every time you look around, you hear and I hear of what we're going to do 2, 3 years from now. Yep. That's crazy. You got to do it now.
Yeah, we're almost sounding like Cubs fans.
What'll happen now? When you say 2 or 3 years, that means you're not even trying now.
Yeah.
You're trying for 2 or 3 years from now.
Yeah, we start sounding like Chicago Cubs fans. Next year's the year. Yeah, well, but they did finally win it, so they can't say that anymore.
When's the last time that we were rated in the top 3 or 4?
Ooh, boy, I think it might have been 2000. Martinez's freshman year. Taylor Martinez's freshman year. I believe that was 2010.
And we were what? Rated what?
At one point, I believe we were rated in the top 5, and then we lost to Texas.
And so we've been down. So it's almost been, since we were prominent, it's been like when Eric was there, like 2000.
Yeah. It always, to me, it always, I attribute it to the 2001 game against Colorado when they just throttled our defense. And to me, it just seems like the team has never been the same since.
It's not the team, it's the program.
A lot of pride in the program in itself got hurt.
We got to get more into winning instead of just making money. See, we keep making money and ain't winning. So what's the problem? What's the hurry in winning when we still making money?
That's the thing. Everything's so money driven in sports nowadays. It's almost comical.
Well, then they need to give more to the players then, because they still ain't giving none to the players in college. It's about winning.
That's right.
They don't get none of that money. They're not worried about that money. They're trying to get the money, and the money only comes through winning.
That's right.
You got to be winning. You got to want to be winners. You got to sell them on. You're going to win, and you're going to win now.
I agree 100%, and I think that's the only way you get those top-notch players.
We should not settle for anything else but winning.
That's right.
Winning. I don't want to hear about 3 years from now. I could care less what's happening 3 years. That's not, ain't got nothing to do with me. What we're going to do now?
We may not be here 3 years from now, so I'd like to see it right now.
That's right. Nothing's promised to anybody.
No.
What are we going to do right now? And what are we planning? See, we got to be at least planning for now. So we got guys going out, and they have to explain to me too that if we have a guy, what's our little running back's name that we just went out?
Why is my memory blanking? Dedrick Mills.
No, you know the real good one.
Why is my mind is completely blanking? You put me
all-purpose player. Well, anyway, we need another one somewhere to do those type of things. When we lost our first wide receiver to left, the one that was really about to break more of my records.
Spielman.
Yep,
J.D. Spielman.
Well, we got to make sure that we convince us now that we replace that spot. Now. Okay? With other guys, we got 3 or 4 other different players. Well, who are replacing them? We're not only replacing them, we're replacing them. Can we replace them with better players? Now.
I don't
know. They got thousands of players out there in the portal. It's just like junior do the college transfers. You go get you somebody good somewhere, make them a good deal, and bring them here to fill in that spot now.
That's right. And like you said, there's plenty out there. There's plenty out there to choose from. It's almost like another recruiting trip.
But they got to get on a team that they're going to feel that they're going to win now, because none of them got 2-3 years to be wasted on you building a program. They're not building blocks. We got to win now. They got to go to the NFL now. You only got 3 or 4 years max in college. It's all about now. It's never about building a program. You got to be able to create one now.
That's right. I believe Wandale Robinson was the young man. Sorry about that. Knew I could think about it. I just needed a moment.
I have a great memory. It's just short.
Same here. Oh, gosh. All right, Johnny, this is where I'm going to wind it down. This has been amazing. I will turn this over to you, my guest. I want you to let people know where they can find you on social media, anything you have coming up as far as events, and any other charities and organizations that you would like to plug. This is your time, sir. The platform is yours.
Well, I haven't really thought about it, but I have the JET Award coming up, where we give an award to the best punt return and kickoff player in college football, and that's really coming up here probably April 8th, I'm pretty sure. We're making a decision on this Tuesday whether we're going to do a TV program with virtual participants, or else we're going to actually have it live. Herschel Walker is going to be my keynote speaker if we do have it live here in Omaha here coming up. And through that event, we raise money for kids for scholarships into the trades. When I was at Tech High School, we had the 2nd largest school in the United States, and it was all about trades. So I'm really into the trades, and I think that a 2-year degree in a trade will get you come out of school and you got a job. Matter of fact, you got a career, and you start out at $50,000, $60,000 and up to $100,000, which is a big number for me. But you can get there a lot quicker than I can, as I did. It take you 3 or 4 years to get to $100,000, where it took me like 10. to get to there. But once you get there, you're there and you really continue on and you will always have a career. I'm the chairman of the 100 Black Men of Omaha, where we do mentoring work. And we do a lot of other things besides mentoring, but I want people to know that everybody needs a mentor. And I've been able to get us from like 25 men in the 100 Black Men to over 145 in the 100 Black Men, because I promised them that when you come and you mentor a child, you get mentored too. You can have a mentor, because everybody needs a mentor, and mentoring is for a lifetime. So we put a lot of emphasis on our mentoring program, not just for our youth, but for our members at the same time. And at Metro Community College, which is my partner at the Jet Award program, we give scholarships from people from 18 to 62 has been our oldest. So it's not just for regular people, it's for non-traditional students. It's not for Black people, white people, Hispanic people, Chinese people. It's for all people. All the people who have a need, that we're able to satisfy your need, and we're ready to do it now. We're not talking about later. We're ready to do it now. We have scholarship money. We raised over $1 million or so for people who are in need here right now. So we want people applying for those scholarships here right now. Again, I told you about my Psycho Can, that we're trying to get people back to work, back to schools, back to health. So whenever you hear about it, make sure you probably get you one, and to make yourself safe like everybody else. And on that's pretty much the things that I'm really emphasizing now. It's more than I can keep track of right there. To be honest, I don't want to bring too much stuff into the game. I just appreciate being a Husker. I'm a Husker fan for life. I really believe in our program and the things that we're doing, but I just want to do them now. I can't go for what we're going to do later. Later might not ever come. We got to fix it now. And when we get good players, we got to keep them. They're hard to find. Good help is hard to find. So we better keep the ones that we got and stop telling about what we're going to do later and what's what we're going to do for you now. And when you graduate from the University of Nebraska, you can graduate as a star on a star program, and we're going to be highlighted all over the country, because Huskers are going to be mentioned in some type of way of who we're going to be ass kickers and booty whippers again. We'll be whooping our own ass. And shoot, we're going to get out there and we're going to make things happen, not asking for nothing. We're going to make things happen. It's our way or the highway. Ass kickers, booty whoopers. Put me in, coach. Put me in, coach.
Oh, I wish I could still play. I really do.
I don't really want to play no more, but I'm glad I had my turn. I'm in the racquetball and golf now. So
hey, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah.
You earned your time to relax.
Thank you.
All right, so this is where I'm gonna go ahead and shut her down. Everybody, you know the deal. You know the way to go. You can find the video on YouTube at my name, Brian Knutson. You'll be able to find this on Facebook at my name as well, Brian Knutson, and also the spinoff. You'll be able to find the audio anywhere there are podcasts, and that'll be Apple, Spotify. Take your pick. You're gonna love it. You'll be able to find the audio with the Scarlet and the Cream Husker podcast, and you can find us on Twitter at Knutson_Brian and at the Scarlet Cream. So for
you out there, buddy?
We've got to put it all out there. We're trying to do something.
I had no idea who I was dealing with here.
Oh yeah, not much yet, but we're trying to get there. So hopefully we do.
Good luck. If I can ever help you, you can contact me.
Absolutely. For my guest Johnny the Jet, for the Killigans sponsoring the intro music, thank you so much.
Red.
Go Big Red.
All right.
Thank you, Johnny.
Thank you. Okay.